Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about getting in deep with theory. So let's get into it. So the question was posted on a video that I made, which basically describes what I would have done differently if I started all over again. And in this case, it was a front-end developer who asked me about my work with front-end, and I said I would still have probably done the thing I did, which was to be a full-stack developer in essence, because the thing that you gain by understanding a full stack perspective, even if that takes longer, is that you will learn back-end concepts, and those back-end concepts, you're not going to learn that in front-end, yet it is still relevant. And so the question was advice on how to get deep into the theory of back-end that you mentioned. Well, it's actually very simple. You have to become a back-end developer. So one of the easiest ways that I figure out in a technical interview with someone, because this is actually really fun. You want to try this? So the average full stack developer who applies for a front-end position does so saying that he or she is a full stack JavaScript developer. Now, I have said on occasions, and I still back that up, is that there are certain communities where when you say that you have been working with backend, or like you're a backend developer or so forth, the language that you mention as your primary backend language will in many cases tell me more about how well you actually know backend work as opposed to something else. Now, my favorite ones are if you say that you're a backend developer in either PHP, Ruby, or JavaScript, then I don't really know what you mean exactly, because a backend developer, well, what is a backend developer? It can be anybody who it's the same thing with a front-end developer. A front-end developer is someone who knows how to do the UI right. But the difference in skill level or your understanding of how to work in that space has a lot to factor. You have to factor that in as well. And so this is the problem that usually comes with people not knowing exactly what they're talking about. The test that I would like you to suggest if you're doing any hiring for full stack JavaScript developers is ask them about TypeScript. Now, the average, either they're not going to have worked with TypeScript or anything like that, or they're most likely going to say that they like it. And then ask them about what their favorite functionality is with TypeScript. Most of them are going to give you some vague explanation into, oh, it's nice to add types. But the second you start asking them about polymorphism, inheritance, or how you use encapsulation, do you use composition over inheritance? And these are like the bare, like this is like kindergarten concepts for, this is like stuff you learn in your first month as a backend developer. Any of this stuff they don't, most of them don't even know what the concept means, what it actually means whatsoever. And so you can talk about type systems. Is that the thing? Well, you can be a backend developer without knowing about type systems, but where does the theory end for a backend developer? How do you get deep into the theory of backend? Because all backend is what? It's knowing a web framework, and it's knowing how to connect to a database. Is that it? Is that how you do it? That's my point. My point is that if you want to get deep into the theory of backend, the ideal thing for you is to take a look at the backend language, becoming a backend developer in one of the languages that primarily is considered to be the more mature languages. Like usually I tell people, learn something like Java or C#. The reason why I say that is not because they are necessarily the best languages in the world, but I can guarantee you these are among the oldest we have. They are also the most corporately enterprisey ones, and they are the ones that has the most I think at the very least, depending on what do you mean by theory. As I said, like you have functional programming as well. Do you want to go into Scala or Haskell, F sharp? Like that's theory as well. So how to get back this, as I said, like guys, this question sort of indicates my point. This person doesn't understand enough. You're asking me how to get into the theory of backend when the answer should be this answer should be fairly obvious. You have to learn how to program as a backend developer, because when you are a full stack developer, it's not just about the theory of backend, it's about actually knowing how to work as a backend developer. That's why it takes so long to learn these sorts of things. And there are a lot of people who will tell you that a full stack developer is always someone who sort of sucks at both, or etc. etc. Yes, as I said, the average person that I talk to, they have they call themselves full stack developer or full stack JavaScript developer, but they don't know a single thing about anything related to computer science or or any of the basic concepts related to this. This is sort of the thing, right? They use a term that they do not fully understand, I argue. But then again, that same thing happens when I talk to so-called front-end developers who don't know, like they don't know CSS. Are you a front-end developer? It's hard for me to say because their terms are so loose. So that's why my advice is become a serious enterprise level backend developer. And so this is why I don't want you to really do this, because it seems well, I'm not going to put in too much here because this person hasn't said anything about it, but this is sort of where I've had questions like this before, where people will ask me, Frederick, I'm learning language A. Which other language should I learn so that I get better at language A? And I go, don't do that to yourself. The reason why I can do full stack development is because I enjoy working with all things IT, like all of it. Like I really do enjoy it. It's the way that I like to do things. And it takes a lot longer to do that. It has rewarded me, but if you think about it yourself, it's sort of like if you are only interested in front end, it does not make sense for you to go and learn backend, which you may not enjoy, and vice versa. Some people specialize, and they specialize for a reason. And as I said, the people who try to do all of it, well, there's a lot of them calling themselves something, but the reality is that if you want to be a true full stack developer and really be able to leverage all the things that I was talking about, like having those benefits, you're literally looking at a personal investment of multiple years working as both a back-end developer and a front-end developer. And I'm talking not necessarily at the same time. You might work as it exclusively, and it requires a lot of personal dedication to do that. And that's why I say to you, I suggest that if you want to get into the theory of backend, just literally go and become a backend developer. There's a million courses for how to develop everything from APIs and databases, like all of this sort of stuff. You're basically, it's like becoming a doctor or like a psychiatrist or a police. I don't know. Take any it's like two specializations. A chiropractor or like, I don't know, like pick your poison here. It's literally like having two specialties at the same time, and odds are that like this is not for the average person. I can tell you that. So what I want you to take away from this is that if you want to get into deep theory about backend or deep into the theory, it's actually very simple. Just stop doing the front-end searches. Search for how to become a Java developer, how to become a C# developer. It doesn't have to be this language. I just take them as examples because I know that there are people who have nuanced opinions about this, and there are cooler languages. But the reality is that if you want to get really deep into materials that have been around for quite some time, some of the Bibles for serious system design and like ways of working, everything from test-driven development, etc. So these Bibles of our industry are written by people that have been around coding for longer than Go. as an example. And my argument is always going to be that it's better for you to get fertile ground to start off with. Like these more enterprisey languages, they're very well suited for beginners who want to get into like a really serious career, because you can, all the cool languages, they're still going to be there, but they may not necessarily set you up to learn all of the more theoretical aspects of what it means to be a backend developer. And as I said, don't do this if you're just going to be a front-end developer, because the thing that I was referring to is that yes, I might have a leg up in some situations on a front-end developer because I have a lot of backend experience, and that gives me a different way of looking at things. But at the same time, I'm limited in other ways. I mean, there are people who work as, say, front-end developers who are extremely good at UX design. They have a back-end in user UX and UI development. They have an amazing ability to create something that I am completely, like, it's impossible for me to do that, because they have a complementary skill set that really fits well with front-end work. I have as well, but it's from the other perspective. It's just as a backend developer who also knows DevOps or like operations. It really fits, it synergizes really, really well. But you don't have to force yourself to do these sorts of things just to get that benefit. I suggest that you start by doing the thing that I basically did. Learn what's interesting to you and try to make that synergize. Have a great day.